This is still Prime Morning. Well, thank you to all of you who called in to say something beautiful about your fathers. Father's Day is on Sunday, so the man doesn't necessarily have to be your biological father, but any man that has been highly instrumental in your life, do your very best to make sure that you celebrate them on Sunday. The men seem to think that we are, not as supportive as we are when it comes to Mother's Day. So please, let's go harder this year for our fathers. Now, speaking of our fathers, my guests for today, they are both celebrating their birthdays, by the way. Which is shocking, which is so surprising. I least expected this, but I was just thrown. I was like, what? Super amazing. It's Let's Talk Relationship time, and today our topic for discussion is going to be focused on adoption. And so it's a nice topic to, create an opportunity for us to even talk about the responsibilities of fathers and mothers, but most especially fathers. And so I'm going to introduce my guests to you this morning, and then they are going to tell us something beautiful, something nice about their fathers, and also how they feel about being fathers. How about that? Yes. So seated to my immediate left, he's no stranger to us at all. I always get super duper excited when he comes on Let's Talk Relationship right here on Prime Morning. He's the founder and leader of Family Altar Ministries. Ladies and gentlemen, Prophet Moses Benisan. Hi, bro.
Hi, yes,
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing very great and extremely excited.
I like
this morning.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. It's raining birthdays. Yes. Seated to Prophet Moses's left is Samuel Anaglate. He is the vice principal for School of Social Work. We definitely had to bring somebody in here because of our topic for discussion. And it's also his birthday as well. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
What will you be doing today?
I have a lot planned.
Yeah? Okay, that's good. But before we get into that, I want you to tell us something. What is your fondest memory about your father?
It's difficult to select one. Because there are a lot of it. He's an amazing person. And he's a father.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, that's lovely. Prophet Moses?
My father is the most caring father, and I happen to be the last born, so he is very concerned about me. If you want favor from my father, take good care of me. You will get what you're looking for.
That's nice. That's nice.
Unfortunately, he died when I was 7 years old.
Oh,
yeah.
So sorry.
And I remember very well. During the funeral, my senior brother was crying, and in the midst of his tears, he asked me who would take care of us, who would give us tea to drink. But looking back, God has been faithful.
God is always always faithful. We thank God. And so tomorrow, that particular segment is going to come your way again. So get ready to join us tomorrow and call in and let us know what your fondest memories about your father is. I love my father to death. Unfortunately, he passed away this year in the month of February. And he was just the best. Anybody who knew me knows that me and my father was just the best. I'll find time and tell you some more about my father. But let's delve into today's conversation, which is on adoption. And I chanced on somewhere that, every year, the Department of Social Welfare, that they receive applications of about 240. So approximately like 20 applications for adoption. Well, I chanced on it and I said to myself, oh, that is not that high as you would think that, it should be, looking at the number of children we see on the streets who obviously some parents are not able to take care of them. Some orphans also who need proper families to take care of them. And so we are going to get into adoption and then the myths, most especially, surrounding them. If you're a parent or you're a married couple and you're interested in adopting a child, well, someone here is going to let us in on all of it. So I want to start with Samuel Anaglate and what I chanced on, this is what I chanced on, and I don't know if it's still the same. The rates that I just mentioned, that about estimatedly is about 240 applications that come in through the Department of the Social Welfare. But let us in on whether this year, 2025, looking at last year, there's been an increase in the rates of applications for adoption.
All right. So what I can say is that I know the figure is way higher. I don't have it off head.
Okay.
But then the reason why I'm saying that is that so there are adoption agencies that have been licensed to carry out adoption, assist applicants to adoption applications. And then the regional office of the Department of Social Welfare also does adoption. So if you want to adopt wherever you are in the country, you go to the regional office of the Department of Social Welfare, or you look for an adoption agency to assist you. Most of the time, or a lot of the time, some of the applications don't get completed. So it doesn't even get to the Central Adoption Authority for them to even add that to their figures. But then the figure is more. There are a lot more people aiming to applying to adopt than the figure you mentioned. Just I don't have it off it.
Okay, so what would you say would be some of the things that stops or doesn't complete the process?
So age is a factor.
Age of the child?
No, applicant.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if you allow me, I can tell you the various forms of adoption that we have. So we have in-country adoption, and then we have inter-country adoption. The inter-country adoption is the one that somebody is outside the country and wants to adopt from Ghana. And then the in-country adoption is when you have lived in Ghana for not less than 2 years. You have lived and worked in Ghana for at least 2 years. That is when you are applying and you live and work in Ghana. That is the in-country adoption. These two can also be divided into two each. We have relative and non-relative. The relative is when you're adopting a child that is related to you. In the fifth level of consanguinity. So maybe your fathers, your brothers, daughters, sisters, to the fifth level. Yes. And then the non-relative is when you put in an application and you want social welfare to assist you with a child that is available to be adopted. Now, if you are doing in-country non-relative, the age cutoff for you, the applicant, is 55 years. So if you are 56 years, you can't adopt.
Above 55, you cannot adopt?
No, that's in-country.
In-country, living within...
In-country, non-relative, yes.
Oh, okay.
Inter-country adoption, non-relative, the maximum age is 50 years. That is a Hague requirement. It's not even Ghana. You understand? Yeah. And then if you are doing a relative adoption, the maximum is 65 years. Yeah, so these are the age. So age can be a factor. And then also, we also investigate your background. So you have to also submit a police clearance form. Maybe there is some...
you have no criminal history?
Especially against any child, you get it, yes. So we also investigate those things. Yeah. And then we also check your financial standing. We are not saying you should be so rich, but you should be able to prove that you have some work you do, that you can take care of yourself
and another
person. We don't want to burden you.
That's true.
That's it. Yeah.
That's true.
So some of these things can disqualify. Application.
All right, viewers. So I'm going to come to Prophet Benisan, but before that, I want you to join us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it is Joy Prime TV. What are some of the questions that you have in relation to adoption? Are you interested? The abled persons are here to answer all the questions for you. Or you can take our WhatsApp number 055-157-5757. Prof, you were a man of God. You were a prophet. So I want us to talk about the reality on the ground when it comes to adoption. I know that quite a number of times, the number one thing that a number of, most times women, would say that adoption can never be an option for them.
Yes.
Is witchcraft.
Yes.
And some other things. But the most one that is really on top is that. What would you say would be some of the myths that you've heard? You're a counselor, you're a man of God. People come with you with their problems and all of that. What would you say in relation to some of the myths of adoption? So
there are a lot of things that are considered. I mean, adoption is both legal and social, because you are becoming the permanent parent of the child that you are adopting. So you want to really go a little deeper. And so that is why the spiritual aspect becomes very important, because there are some times where we are culturally oriented to be cautious of the blood ties that we have with people. So you don't know the background of the child you're going to adopt. My brother just spoke about you have to do criminal checks and etc. That is for the person adopting. But how do I also get to know the background of the child that I am going to adopt? That becomes a very serious thing for particularly the woman who is in the question. Adoption has happened in the Bible. Pharaoh's daughter adopted Moses. But eventually, Moses became the one that caused the downfall of their empire, because God used him to understudy everything in the kingdom and the empire of the pharaohs. Now God used him to destroy the kingdom of Egypt. Therefore, when you are adopting somebody, you want to also do the spiritual clearance. The spiritual clearance is very important. There are people who believe in bloodline curses. There are people who don't believe in bloodline curses. But the reality is that there are spiritual things that happen in various families. When you read the scriptures, you will realize that there are patterns in families. For instance, Jesus told us parable that a man married, after he married, he died without a child. His brother married to the same wife. The same thing that happened to the senior brother happened to him, happened to the seventh.
It became a generation.
It became a pattern. It became a pattern. So there are patterns in the scriptures. When Jesus was born, they said he is from Nazareth. And they said, can any good thing come from Nazareth? That means that once you're from Nazareth, you are doomed. Okay? So that pattern is there. There are patterns that you want to observe about the family you are adopting from. Their patterns. So it makes people to be very concerned. How do I know the background of this child? Because you can adopt a child and it will become a problem for you because you don't know the source, the spiritual source, the bloodline patterns that are there. Nonetheless, that's why we pray. We pray so that God will guide us to make the right choice and also give to us the child that he has destined for, that he knows that we can take care of. And he will not give you the child that you cannot take care of.
That's true. That's very true. Now, Samuel, coming to you, Prof just mentioned, okay, yes, you do due diligence on whoever that is coming for a child to adopt. So what is done for that person when it comes to the child that he or she may be interested in? Getting to know the background
of the child. Yeah, so definitely, again, if you want me to explain this for you to understand, I'll have to take you through the processes.
Yeah.
So you begin, in fact, you need to show the intent to adopt, and that is when you have put in an application.
Yeah.
We will do your background checks and all those
Okay.
things. And then there is a register of children that are adoptable. Okay.
Okay.
You mentioned something earlier about a lot of children on the streets who need parents.
Yeah.
I'll come there.
Okay.
Okay. So there is a register of adoptable children. So there is something we call matching. There is a committee called the Adoption Technical Committee. They look at your application. So people who complete the adoption application form, and the person is saying that I want a girl with pointed nose.
Oh, they describe all that in the form?
Yes, fair in complexion. So fine, we have your application. You've written age brackets. We look at the register of children, adoptable children,
yeah.
and then we match. So the one that matches your preference, we match that with you, and then we give you a placement proposal. It's a form which describes the child that you have shown interest in. Okay. And then you pick the form, and then you also respond by agreeing or rejecting the application. So if you agree, you go and pick the child from wherever the child is.
Do you add a photo of the child?
No, for a special reason. That we don't. So what if you look at the photo and then reject the child there instantly? You get, or you receive the photo and then you circulate it and then later reject the child. What becomes of the child? There is confidentiality level in adoption is very high, to the extent that if I adopt and you tell my neighbor that, you tell my child that
you are adopted.
You're my neighbor, yeah, you can go to jail for that.
Really?
Yes.
In Ghana?
In Ghana.
So although you have adopted a child, you cannot say...
No, I mean, you, my neighbor, you are telling the child, you should leave that to me.
So if I have a neighbor and then I go and adopt a child, my neighbor has no right to go and tell the child that the child has been adopted by me.
Yes.
Because that neighbor of mine can go to jail.
Yeah. The neighbor will go to jail. Now, let me come to the question.
Okay.
So, after you have accepted the placement, okay, then you go pick up the child. You have 3 months to study the child. We call that stage the bonding period.
Okay.
So you have 3 months. And whilst you are studying the child and trying to understand the child, there's a social worker assigned to you who is writing a report we call post-placement report.
Oh, okay.
So that report would then say, okay, so everything went well, the adoption can proceed. At that point, we could stop the process and say, bonding is not taking place. We don't think the child
is finding it difficult being
safe,
comfortable.
Yes, is safe with you.
Okay.
Okay, so you have that option of understanding the child. And this is the thing. A lot of the children that come into the alternative care system that finally ends up on the adoption register, the information we have is what we provide. So assuming you are in office and the police brings a child to your office and tells you that they found this child by the roadside
somewhere, yeah.
Okay, we follow the police, do an investigation. Okay, we search and search and search a minimum of 6 months, trying to see if we can trace family. Assuming it's a baby and we don't find any information. Whatever information we have is what we give you. I get my point, yes. So getting to know the background of their children is also a very difficult one. Because you may search and search and search, follow lead, take information from the police, go to the community, speak to people, and all those things will enter.
And you would not find their background, where they are coming from.
Yes, so if we find where they are coming from, we are super excited because we want every child to grow up in their
own home. Yeah.
We don't want any child to be denied of that.
Yeah.
You get it? So once we find the family, we are super excited. We do verification. We find out why was the child abandoned. Most of the time it's poverty. And
you know, speaking about that, today on Trends, I did a story where a woman had sent her child, a little boy, on an errand. Please, if you have that video, can we please play it for our guests to see where she sent the boy a little boy on an errand past 8 p.m. And the street he was walking on was very dark and quiet. And somebody chanced on him, asked him where he was going, and I think he had told her that my mother has sent me to go and buy a citrine in Katie. we have that video. Let's kindly play it for our guests to take a look at it. And I was quite heartbroken by that. I was just thinking about the fact that what could have possibly made a mother send a little boy. You know, the video is ready. Let me not talk much. Let's take a look at the video.
Oh, he's so young.
Yeah.
Umami si koto si training katia mano at this time. Huh? Ekokobo 9 o'clock.
I think he's used to it.
When I did that, he's probably used to it. This is a normal routine.
Hey, Asimbini.
Him goes, Okokra. Don't give it away. I want you to give me the reaction.
What is wrong with us? Hey, at this time of the night.
All right, so that's the video that I was talking about earlier on, Samuel.
Yeah, so the kind of work I do as a social worker, we see a lot of these things. We see things that children go through a lot, and the Lord has given us the authority to rescue. I call it rescue.
Okay.
Rescue some of these children into our care, and then resolve the issue at home.
Okay.
For you know, the mother doesn't even see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to take the mother through a basic counseling in order not to put children to harm's way. And then we reunify the children back and then supervise them. Now let me go to the earlier statement you made that there are a lot of children on the streets. This has been what a lot of people think, and so they think that once I adopt in Colagua,
a child from the
I
street.
should be able to get a child from the street.
Oh, it's not like that.
That is not what it is.
Okay.
Before a child gets his name or her name into the adoptable children register, it takes a lot of investigations and a lot of work. To the extent that I was saying earlier that if the mother abandoned the child because of poverty, it's stated in the law that the reasons why a child should be adopted or be put in alternative care should not be due to poverty.
Poverty, yeah.
You get it? So because poverty can be resolved. What does the person need? He needs money. He wants to take care of himself and the child. And there are a lot of NGOs there. There are a lot of social protection programs that are supporting vulnerable people. You need to assess that and then be able to take care of your own child. What if that is the only child that you have? So because of poverty, you lose that child. But then reasons should be whether a family member cannot be traced. So then the child needs a family. Or the child has been genuinely, how do you call it? So the person brings the child to the social welfare and says that I'm relinquishing the child to the state. Even that, you can come over to the office, we counsel you,
right.
we talk to you, you know, give you...
To see if there's possibly
all
a
the
chance
options.
of you changing your mind.
Yes, all the options available.
Okay.
And after giving you all the options, we leave you to go think about it. But then sometimes from what you are saying, we may suspect that leaving the child with you may not be safe. So we tell you that, but you can let the child sleep with us, go think about it. Our doors are open, you can come. The person has a form to complete. The person needs to do certain documentations and bring. The person brings all those things. The law says that even in spite of that, the person has 1 month to think about the decision.
I want you to hold our thoughts and let me come to Prophet Moses. Prof, let's come to it in the concept of marriage. Okay. What possibly could make a married couple decide to want to adopt a child?
I believe the common reason is when they are not giving birth.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people believe that once you are married, you need to have children.
Within the first year?
Yes, you need to have children. I mean, it is true that from biblical perspective, God said that we should increase, we should be fruitful, etc. So you'll observe that as soon as people get married, people start looking at the lady.
Is she growing
the expectations
big? Is the tummy becoming big? Oh my God.
Expectations are so high,
Yeah.
and societal pressure is so high. I will share my story. We got married in September, okay? But something happened just before we got married. My wife she went to the hospital, so they gave her an injection. She didn't know that injection can tamper with your hormones.
September what year?
2023.
Okay.
Yeah, so that injection tampered with her hormones. On the day of our marriage, as soon as she came out, when they said they should bring her and introduce her to the family, as soon as she came out, she discharged blood, okay? So her menses came. It was not supposed to come at that time. So after the marriage, the whole cycle...
Oh, you mean on the day of the ceremony?
Yes. On the
that
day
she was brought out?
Yes.
Then...
Out of excitement, joy, and everything.
Okay.
Her system just went
Switched.
off. Yeah, so for 4 months, it has to be stabilized for 4 months. And then somebody will call her, I have a dream that you have twins. I have a dream that you have given birth. So 6 to 7 months into the marriage, we were driving home. Then she mentioned to me that a neighbor called her that she was on TikTok. She used her picture as DP. And then someone said he is a prophet, told her that the picture on your DP, they've tied her womb. So she can't give birth until she sees him. And so she said she'd go or not. And I asked her, who is your prophet? She said, you are my prophet.
Thank you. She's married to a whole prophet.
Yeah, so I parked the car, said, let's call the lady, tell the lady to delete your picture at once.
Yes.
So she did. When she deleted the lady, and then I said, we married to enjoy our marriage. We didn't marry because of children. We married because of love. Let's enjoy our marriage. At the right time,
the child will come.
The child will come. You see, sometimes it's the social pressure leads to anxiety, and the anxiety leads to fear. What if I don't give birth? And then you get worried, you get depressed. Then all kinds of sicknesses begin to, and then you start running from place to place. You get your
seeking help, taking all sort of medicines and all of that,
etc.
Yeah.
And I told her, let's just enjoy our marriage. We don't let anyone put pressure on you. Just enjoy your marriage. And you know what? 3 days later, she said, surprise, I'm pregnant. So, yeah.
Wow.
So the societal pressure is very high. And so when it happens like that, you would want to get a child in the home. Some people go as far as stealing the baby. When there is a right way of doing it, they'll pay people to steal babies.
Oh, yes, from hospitals.
From hospitals.
Right. Yeah.
Steal babies. I will also say that when a child comes into the home, it's beautiful. Sometimes you have exhausted all the communications at home. So when the child comes, the child brings all kinds of excitement into the home. So people would want to have children at home. Because of that, they go for adoption. I will say that initially we spoke about the spiritual aspect, the witchcraft aspect, etc.
Yeah.
What I would say is that the Bible says, train up a child the way it should go. And when they grow, they will not depart from it. So you can nurture that child and transform that child, because I believe that every child needs a home.
You got me dumbfounded. Honestly speaking, you've got me, because this is actually a huge problem in a number of homes. And I know that there are a lot of families that wish that they could adopt a child, but are scared because of something like this. Samuel, people who show interest in adopting, maybe I know definitely you've heard stories of some of the fears that families have in relation to adoption. What are they?
Yeah, so Reverend has Bishop, Bishop, right?
Pastor or Reverend is
Reverend, okay. In fact, he said a lot of it, and then some of them also are scared of what the child might become in future, which mostly he has said. So, and I've heard a lot of people say, when a woman with mental disability gives birth, the chances that the child also grows to be is very high. Wow. So a lot of them want to know if the child, and a lot of the children that, not most, but then some of the children that we get that are adoptable are children that have been given birth to by some of these women working on the streets who have been impregnated by other people. So they have sometimes to get children from them. So people are afraid, they don't want to have they want to adopt such children because they think that someone even said, once they breastfeed a child, the child could, you understand, will also grow and become like their mother.
Trying to say that the mental state of that mother could be transferred to the baby through breastfeeding.
Exactly, but I don't think that is true. In fact, maybe we need a medical person.
Yeah, we really do, because I'm even laughing at it at the moment.
Yeah, we need a medical
it really doesn't make sense to me.
Now, so I did not finish my earlier point.
Yes.
I wanted to really establish this because a lot of people have said adoption is a difficult process. Yeah, and I just want to explain. So the fact is that the children that are available to be adopted are very few.
Oh, okay.
They are very few. When you see a child on the street, the child is not there because the child needs a parent. The child is there most of the time. Go see their parents are around them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Streetism is a different issue. You go to the orphanage, you see children there. A lot of them are not there because they need parents. When I was explaining earlier, I said the parent could bring the child to us and say, "I don't want the child." And when you listen to how the parent is talking, you realize that the child may not be safe following the parent, so that tell the parent to go think about a decision. When we take the child, one of the places we send the children is the orphanage. Okay, some people could be having very difficult times. Even where to sleep with a child is difficult.
Yeah.
So they bring their children for us to keep the children for them. Sometimes it could be abused children that we have rescued. We keep them in the orphanage. So when you get to the orphanage, all these children are there. Now, before the child becomes adoptable, then we would have completed all investigations and are not able to trace any family. Or, even though we found the family, they have all relinquished their rights over the child to the state. And you ask the question, how many times does this happen?
Yeah.
You get it? So you see a lot of children in the orphanage, but majority of them, about 98% of them, are not adoptable.
Wow.
So when you see children on the street, you see children on the orphanage, there are people...
Okay, I think what you're saying is true, because in December, I think it was the first day of the new year, 1st January, Prime Morning visited an orphanage. The name has escaped me. If the crew can remind me of the name of the orphanage. We spent the whole day with an orphanage in East Legon and speaking with them. Nyamidua Children's Home. There's a children's home. Now, speaking with these children, some don't have parents at all, but a majority of them still have parents.
Family
members. They either have a father still alive, or a mother still alive, or a relative. That sometimes when they go on vacation, they go there for vacation.
Yeah, now how do you adopt such children?
So how do you adopt them?
So you go there and then you fall in love with one of them, and then you have people coming around and say, I saw a child in this orphanage.
Yeah.
I got connected to the child spiritually. God says that is my child.
Yeah.
Such children. But it doesn't work like that. The law even says that if you see a child with your eye prior to the adoption, you can't adopt that child.
Okay.
So assuming you saw a child somewhere, you can't adopt that child, even if the child is adoptable.
Okay.
Or somebody comes and say a child was placed in front of his house early in the morning, and so the child has become adoptable. I want to adopt that child. That child can never be adopted to you. Reason being that we've had issues where people have sort of, you mentioned earlier, taking children from hospitals and all those things. And they want us to regularize that process for them. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
So if you found a child somewhere, your best bet, bring the child to social welfare.
And to add to that, let me add, see, I mentioned Pharaoh's daughter and Moses. What happened? She found a baby by the roadside, adopted a child, and then it became their downfall.
Yeah.
So, so you have to go through the right processes.
And don't think that just because you spotted the child seems adoptable in your eyes. Prof, I want you to throw a word of advice to married couples, most especially. We'll continue this conversation where we're going to bring some more back as well so that we can delve deeper into that adoption processing.
Yeah, I think that we know that the Bible says children are a gift from God. And so when you marry and you're believing God for a child, please pray about it. Sometimes when we get very anxious, we tend to seek certain solutions from wrong quarters.
Right.
And then we diminish the chances of actually becoming pregnant. And so I advise people that don't get to that level where you get so anxious and depressed about it. That's number one. Number two, I also believe that if there are no children, please go through the right process, right channel to adopt a child. But when you adopt a child, please commit the child into the hand of God. Let God help you, because sometimes you can adopt a child, it becomes a criminal, etc. So commit the child into the hand of God and allow God to help you raise that child to become a blessing in society and a gift to people.
All right, Prophet Moses Benisan, thank you so much. So Prophet Moses is the leader of Family Altar Ministries, and then Samuel Anaglate is the vice principal for a School of Social Work. Our discussion today has been on adoption in marriages. We'll definitely continue the conversation. But before that, let's say a huge thank you to Queen Biz Catering, Decor and Events. They've been giving us some very delicious breakfast. So if you are looking for breakfast meals, contact them on 0244 362256 0244 362256. They are located at Addy Junction near Macedonia Methodist Church. And that's it for today's edition of Prime Morning. My name is Asiedua Akumia. Thank you once again for your time this morning. KMJ and Rosen were here with me. Tomorrow is Friday. We're coming away again at 6 a.m. on the dot. Enjoy the rest of our shows right here on Joy Prime.